Hello students, welcome to Btech360. We've been doing a series of those colleges for you which are very important in terms of them being a part of your option set when you want to apply to a good engineering college. And these are colleges which are beyond IITs, NITs, IIITs and GFTs, which obviously you get based on a JEE rank. But it's also very important for you to understand what are the other good colleges around the country which you may not be aware of, and how do you get into those colleges, and possibly you're aware of but you might not be knowing how to get into those colleges. So what we've done is we created a series called Hidden Gems, which are these colleges which have been there for a long time, delivering fantastic outcomes, student outcomes, which is placements, and have been there for a long time serving the student community. In that process, we're going to cover one more college today. We've already covered about 9-10 of those colleges. Now go back to the series that we called, which is Hidden Gems, and you will know the kind of college that we covered, and why we covered them also is very clearly there in the video itself. And in that process, we're going to cover one more college which is based out of Karnataka. Actually, it's based in Bangalore. Before I move further, 3 requests that I always have for students. One is, please subscribe to Btech360. If you want me to cover any college, write to us in the message box, we'll cover that for you. And 3, if a lot of parents write to me saying that they can't put everything on social media, so there is a WhatsApp number that I gave here. Message us and one of our counselors will call you up and fix up a time so that we can actually have a conversation. Now about this particular college. This college is the second most preferred college for the students who are based out of Karnataka. This college actually takes students, about 44% of the seats are reserved for students who are coming from KCET examination, which is a Karnataka-based common engineering test. About 30% are reserved for students who are COMEDK, which means students from all over the country can take that examination and get into this particular college. And 25% is through the management quota. But this college has been there for a long time, and to that extent, one, the location advantage that you have, which is based in Bangalore, and 2, the fact that it's been there for about the last 60-70 years also means that its alumni is all over the place, occupying very senior positions, because of which the placement becomes much more easier. The location advantage of being in Bangalore and the fact that it's been there for a long time makes placements become much more easier for them, because your alumni is in senior positions in many companies and they invariably come back to recruit from their own alma mater. We opened a counseling session which is completely free. You just need to register. There's a link below this video, first comment below, where you can actually find the registration link. Register for that, and if you have any questions, any doubts, please ask our counselors. We'll be out on there or their scheduled time where you can personally ask us questions, and we'll be happy to respond to you, because our simple objective is this, that we want you to take the best decision which is based on your rank and merit and score. And from that perspective, we'll do everything possible to help you in the process. Also, we are also talking to a lot of universities where a few of these application forms beyond the KCET might be free. So you might actually be able to fill in a few application forms also in the process. So please do register there if you can. And the webinar session is next week. Today we are taking registrations, and there'll be multiple slots. So if there are more students, we'll take a few more slots. But the idea is to answer every single question of yours. So please do register. So the college we're talking about here now is Ramaiah Institute of Technology, which is based in Bangalore. It's been there since 1962, right? So essentially, about 64 years of service, right? And it's autonomous college, 85 acres of land, 4,814 students is what they have, of which 65% are boys, 35% are girls. The important thing for you is this one: 38% of the students in this college are from outside the state of Karnataka. 38% students. Now, which is where you actually have an opportunity, because the fact is that so many students from outside the state are preferring to join MSRIT Institute of Technology. And about 59% are from within the country. 119 students, or 2.5% of the students, come from outside the country also, which means the college is so aspirational that students from outside the country also want to come and study here. That's a big plus for them, right? And total faculty strength is 398, which means we're dealing with a 1:12 kind of a student-faculty ratio. 1 faculty for 12 students, which is exceptionally good ratio, because what is prescribed is 1:15 and 1:20 and 25 also. But these people have 1 faculty for 12 students out there, which is extremely good. Now, this is the filing that they made to the Government of India, which is NIRF, which is National Institutional Ranking Framework. Now, this is the data that's submitted by the college to the NIRF to help them get ranked in the All India rankings, right? And this is run by Ministry of Education, Government of India. So, to that extent, this data is submitted on an affidavit and very little chances of it being wrong. Here, when you look at this data, the placement, they placed 787 students. About 195 students moved up for higher studies, but they placed 787 students, and that's 7.5 lakh rupees median salary. Now the thing is, this college also has a lot of other programs. You know, some of the programs are not much in demand, but they do it because they think that it is needed for the society and the country. The college is very, very well placed in terms of the way that they conduct itself in terms of the kind of programs that are started. Not everything is based on the market demand that they have, which is what many colleges do, where they only start the CS and AI programs because there is market demand for that. But you will see a lot of core engineering programs within this college, because of which the median salary might come down. But the college is so reputed that they still manage to place a lot of their students. Right. So of the 1075, about 195 moved out for higher studies, which means what is left for placement is about 880 students, of which they placed 787 students, which means 90% of the students are placed at a median salary of 7.5 lakh rupees. Earlier it was 8 lakh rupees, then 7.5 lakh. There's a bit of fluctuation that you see very closely here, but essentially if you look at it closely, about 90% of its students get placed. And that too at a scale which is about 787 students, 800 students get placed. Previously it was 841, 897 and so on and so forth, right? And that is the strength of this college. They've not increased the intake. By the way, this is the batch got into it in 1920 and graduated in 2024. We'll also talk to you about the latest data, which is the 24-25 data, and 26 data might still be on the works. But we also have 25 data, right? When you look at the 25 data, this is what they claim. 358 companies visited the campus, 1,892 job offers were made. 50 lakhs was the highest package, and the average salary is 7.66 lakh rupees. It's not the median salary, it's the average salary, remember that, right? So, but when you actually have 1,892 offers, the unique students would be about 1,000 students would have got placed, right? That is the strength of the thing. When you go further in terms of how do you get into this particular one, which is MSRIT, MS Ramaiah Institute of Technology, of course you need to be 10+2. Physics, mathematics are mandatory subjects for you to get into the Btech program. And optional are chemistry, biotechnology, biology, computer science and electronics. Minimum marks to get into it is 45% aggregate. Minimum marks for the other categories 40% aggregate. And there is a subject relaxation rule also, which is if chemistry marks are low, marks from biotechnology, biology, CS, electronics can be considered for eligibility, not for the ranking purposes, but for eligibility purposes. And the entrance exam they take for is KCET examination and COMEDK examination. I'll also explain to you what is the highest closing rank for the open category, so that you know what are your chances of you getting yourself into it and what kind of merit does it have. I told you earlier that this is the second most preferred college as far as KCET examination. The KCET, the total number of seats or the total seats that you have, 45% are through KCET. Now the KCET exam fee is very low fees, right? And then COMEDK, it's moderate fees. Now both these are regulated by the government of Karnataka, right? And then you have management quota also, which is 25% of seats. So the 30% is COMEDK, where a student from Karnataka also can take the examination, while a student from can obviously KCET they can take, but they can also come through this route because this examination is for students from all over the country, including the state of Karnataka. Right? And then management quota also is for all the students from all over the country. So your eligibility, you can get into through this 55%, right? And which is where you saw 38% of the students there who actually are from not from the state of Karnataka, but managed to get into MSRIT. What are the seat matrices that you have? You have 60 for AI and data science. You have AI and machine learning 60 students seats. Biotechnology 60. Chemical is 60. Now these are very difficult to place. This one, they are very difficult to place, which is where you see the median salary coming down a bit. Civil engineering is very difficult to place. 120 seats is what they have. Computer science engineering is 120 seats. CSE AI and ML specialization is 60 seats. CSE cyber security specialization is 60 seats. Electrical and electronics is 60 seats. And electronics and communication engineering is 120 seats. So that's the kind of seat matrix that you have here, of which some of these branches are very difficult to place, which is where the median salary keeps coming down, which is a problem always. Now, what are the other seats that are there? Electronics and instrumentation engineering, again, instrumentation is very difficult. Electronics and telecommunication is 60 seats. Industrial engineering is very, very difficult, 60 seats. Information science and engineering is 120 seats. Mechanical 120. Medical electronics 60. In all, 1,260 seats is what they have. Right. Now, how do you get into that? I told you first is KCET, then COMEDK, then management quota. Let's talk of KCET now. If you're a student from Karnataka, only then this is relevant for you. In KCET, last year, 3.3 lakh students actually registered for the examination, and 3.11 lakh students appeared for the examination. So remember this, 3.12 lakh close together if you round it off, right? So remember this 3.12 lakh and we'll start talking from that perspective, right? Of the 3.12 lakh, for the highest closing rank in the open category, for you to get into these branches in MSRIT is the following. For BE Computer Science Engineering, 2076. Now, when you talk of 2076, remember 3.12 lakh students actually appeared for the examination. We're dealing with 99.4 percentile. That's when you can get, and that's, remember, this is the highest closing rank, not the opening rank. Opening rank would have been 300, 400 and all. But highest closing rank is 2076. For BE Computer Science, AI and ML, it's 2791, which again is 99.1 percentile. Right? Because 3.12 lakh students actually appeared for the examination. BE Information is 3196, which is about 98.9 percentile. BE AI and ML is 3429, which is 98.9 percentile. Right? For BE Electronics and Communication Engineering is 4080, which is 98.7 percentile possibly. So that's the kind of quality of students that this college has. I'm talking of open category, highest closing cutoff, not the opening rank, mind you. It is the highest closing cutoff last year. Now moving further, COMEDK. Right, one is the thing. So you now know that you need to be 98 percentile and above in KCET if you're a Karnataka student to get into MSRIT. Now let's talk of COMEDK, where students from all over the country can appear for the examination and get into MSRIT through this. The fees is slightly different here as compared to what you have for the KCET examination, where the government of Karnataka controls the fees or regulates the fee and fixes the fees. And that's normally very, very low. Then you have COMEDK, where there is a fee slightly scaled up. But students from all over the country can appear for the examination, and it is still merit based on the examination score that you have. Now for COMEDK, 1,13,000 students registered for the examination last year, and 1,13,000 students appeared for the examination. The total colleges that are accepting score is 150 plus in Karnataka only, and 26,827. This is a unique examination which is done only in Karnataka because a lot of students want to go and study in Karnataka. So what did the government of Karnataka do? They actually created an examination which is COMEDK, where students from all over the country can appear for the examination, and based on the merit list is what you can actually get into that. So the colleges in Karnataka have merit-based admission cycle, whether you're from within Karnataka or outside Karnataka, but for the management quota. Now, so you actually have 26,827 seats for 1,13,000 aspirants. Now here, for BE Computer Science, 1,667 was the highest closing rank through COMEDK for MSRIT. Now when you look at 1,13,000 students who appeared for the examination, we're dealing with 98.6 percentile. Right? For BE Computer Science and Engineering, AI and ML, it's 2,098, which is 98.5 percentile. Right? And so on and so forth. So when you look at it, BE Computer Science Engineering is 2852, which is 97.8 percentile, my opinion. BE Information Science is 3030, which is about 97 percentile plus, 97.2 possibly. And BE AI and ML is 3244, which is 97 percentile again. So what we're having is, if the quality of student is that even in COMEDK you need to be 97 percentile and above to get into a branch of your choice in MSRIT through COMEDK examination, where 1,13,000 students took the examination. What is the fee? I told you earlier that the fee is regulated for KCET versus COMEDK and all. The KCET quota fee is 1,34,000 per year is the fees. But if it's COMEDK student, then it's 3.33 lakh. It's almost 2.5 to 3 times of what the fees that is charged by Karnataka. So a student of Karnataka, if he gets merit, can get into this quota. But if you want lesser competition, you come down to COMEDK, even if you're a student of Karnataka or outside, and appear for the examination and come through this quota, where the fee is 3.33 lakhs per annum, which is about 12.5 lakh rupees for the 4 years, right? Because it's 8 times and so on and so forth. And in this particular case, it is much, much lesser. So, which is what we're talking of. Here it's about 5 lakh rupees, here it's about 12-13 lakh rupees, and which is what we're working on. And management quota is slightly different fee structure altogether. And besides that, you also have lots of scholarships. You have post-matric scholarship for SC/ST, fee reimbursement for SC/ST, tuition fee support for SC/ST, which is given by the government of Karnataka, by the way. There's a fee concession for eligible categories, some categories, and there is a boarding and lodging allowance, which is extra support for category 1, 2, and 3 students. and their defense scholarships and MSRIT alumni scholarships, where the alumni contributed, because of which there is a scholarship that's given to them also. Now, what are the companies? Remember, this institution is based in Bangalore, so you obviously have an advantage of the best companies, tech and startup companies and large corporations which are domiciled in Bangalore, and they will always recruit from Bangalore. So from that perspective, you actually have Google, Microsoft, GSTC, Adobe, Amazon, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Qualcomm, Oracle, SAP, Cisco, IBM, Samsung, HSBC, HCL, Capgemini, Cognizant, Infosys, Philips, Target, NetApp, Juniper Networks, Akamai, Lam Research, Robert Bosch, GE Healthcare, Volvo, Toyota, Kirloskar Motors, Tata Elxsi, Schneider, Saint-Gobain, Hindustan Unilever, Godrej, Fidelity, Informatica, Red Hat, Zynga, Mosugma, Emphasis, Virtuosa, Society General. So you have banks, tech companies, automotive companies, electronic companies, large FMCG companies, investment banks and merchant bankers and mutual funds. So you actually have all kinds of companies coming to MSRIT for recruitment purposes. Remember, it's been there for 60 plus years, so it obviously will have a lot of people coming in because the relationship would have been built over a period of time, which helps MSRIT and students who join MSRIT. We also looked at LinkedIn to understand how many students graduated from MSRIT, how are they performing in their life, where are they in their life cycle, which companies are they working for, and so on and so forth, because it corroborates the kind of information that we have, which is given by MSRIT itself or with the government of India, but this third-party validation of that particular data. When we look at that, we found 31,798 students who claimed that they studied at MSRIT who are on LinkedIn. And from that, when we looked at it, about 184 students are right now working in Oracle. At some point in time, 505 students worked at Oracle. Many of them would have moved out of it. 275 students are working in Accenture. At some point in time, 1,250 students actually worked at Accenture and moved out of it, which is, if you now look at it, it's 4% of the students. Right? In IBM, 745 students are working. Again, if you look at it, it's 2.5% or 3%, close to 3%. Right? And 230 are right now working in IBM. Deloitte, 394 students worked, and 170 students are right now working in Deloitte, which means so many students who are right now working in these companies had studied at MSRIT and then moved here. Similarly, we also wanted to look at the large trillion-dollar companies, which are the biggest companies on earth, and whether students of MSRIT could find their way of getting into these companies. Remember, Google, Microsoft and all actually recruit from MSRIT, which I showed you in the companies that come for placement. So when we looked at that data, 35 students are right now working in Meta who studied at MSRIT. Meta is the same company which has Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp and all, they own it. Apple, 63 students who studied at MSRIT are working at Apple. In Amazon, 249 of their students are working. At some point in time, 741 students, had gone through the gates of Amazon and moved on. NVIDIA, 54 of MSRIT alumni is working, and in Google, 90 of the MSRIT alumni is working. Very clearly, these companies would be going for placement, because of which this kind of numbers could be achieved. When we looked at the domicile of where are they located, where are they placed, where are they staying, and those kind of things, we found that 80% of the students who studied at MSRIT are in India, which means 20% students are world over. 20% of the students who studied at MSRIT are outside of India working all over the world, of which 10% students, which is 3,116 students, are in USA alone. That's a massive number. 3,000 of the students who studied at MSRIT are in USA. Then you have about 448 in UAE and about 235 students in United Kingdom and so on and so forth. And of course, because the institution is based in Karnataka and so many companies from Karnataka actually are recruiting, 67% of them are in Karnataka, which means they would be based in Bangalore and working for one of the companies in Bangalore. So the kind of strength that this institution has is so strong, that the relationships are so strong that they'll manage to place most of the students, and the best companies are based in Bangalore. It's got a legacy and a history of so many people, of so many years. So very clearly, they actually have a great advantage of, having their students placed. It is just that the median salary falls down to a certain extent because of the kind of branches that I showed you earlier, right? But if you were to look at the kind of branches that you need in some of those branches, you actually have very, very high placement, about 12 lakh, 15 lakh, 17 lakh, which is where a lot of students prefer to join MSRIT. And that is the reason why it is the second most preferred college under the KCET examination umbrella also, in terms of the closing ranks by the students. And COMEDK is one pathway for you, management quota is one pathway for you, and that is the only way you can get into it if you're a student from outside the state of Karnataka. I hope this helps you. If you want me to cover any other college, please write to me here, and please do subscribe to Btech360. Thank you so much. Namaste.